So, but how we go back to democracy? I think the crazy problem is that in the Greece it was a small community, so it was possible. Now, for example, in the village we had direct democracy. People come here and we face to face you talk. But when the life becomes more complicated, then we have to go through these representative things. But now, actually, this good idea, as my friend said here, is because now we have internet. If it's available to everyone, technology, then there is. And the question will be really implementation. It's a very big issue. But it's worth to do small, like pilot projects. For example, if we did it. Now, actually, they do it. They do it for X Factor, for what's called real TV, reality TV. They do it for celebrities, for Eurovision, people they vote for the people they like. They vote for the people through different ways. But if this be like the pilot project for judges, for example, for the police, for the council, and then it will to be implemented. But my problem is that it's really okay. This what you were saying, I think it's from democracy it becomes technocracy. Actually, the cabinet of experts mean it will be technocracy.
No, they don't decide. I think.
So that's one thing. The first thing, if the people they come, how they will be accountable to us if they do something wrong. Second, your assumption is based that there will be no more political ideas, but people still they have political ideas, they have class ideas, they have interests. So how can we deal with this interest? Then who gives powers? This cyber department, who gives power to them?
You know, I mean, I know that you're well versed into this kind of arguments and so on. But you see, one question at a time. The experts haven't got the right to vote except for one vote only. You know what I mean? So when an expert comes and gives you certain projects, he's not going to say, I will implement this. He hasn't got the decision. You have the decision. That's number one. Secondly, if an expert does not actually function or fulfill his obligations, you have the right to vote him out within a couple of days if you want it. If the majority of the people want this expert out, they kick him out. So that's better accountability than anything.
So what's the mechanism? How they?
By voting. They vote for it.
But who implements that? Who implements?
They will contact the cyber department.
Who gives power to cyber department?
They will vote. Sorry?
Who gives power to them?
It's just another technical department. The cyber department is just another technical. It does not conform to any political idea or idea.
One more question. If experts don't have power to make decisions, so why are they experts?
Because they're experts to give you projects, to solve problems. They will say, my expertise will say that this particular machine, this particular solution, this particular method is good. But he's not going to say, I'm going to do this one instead of that one. And if he makes a mistake, or if he deliberately makes something bad, you can kick him out. You can throw him out. And he's going to offer alternatives, so you don't have to be stuck with his decision. He can't make up his decision. Yeah.
Where would this leave us regarding foreign policy? Is this just a domestic concept, or?
No, it's just another cue.
But like, for example, the EU and stuff, like, decisions taken there affect our daily lives. But the majority of, like you said at the beginning, the turnout for voting is very low. Yeah. So I mean, things like that. So if the majority votes to opt out from like the EU, yeah, then we just drop out from the EU.
Then we'll opt out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we could instigate a study for whether we should stay in the EU or come out. The expert will say, we believe that there are 3 alternatives, 4 alternatives, or whatever. These are the ones. One of them, the last alternative, let's say, the people like, which is to get out of the EU. Okay, we get out of the EU. Where is the problem?
Who are these experts? I
These are people we elect every 2 years.
But how do they become experts?
I don't know. How do you become an expert?
Yes.
One thing to say. So are we assuming that every single citizen has a knowledge of an expert in any issue.
No.
So can I say yes or no? Environmental pollution.
We assume that human beings are human beings with brains and personality.
But do they have knowledge in economy or engineering?
Yes, they do have knowledge. You know why? Because the things you will be deciding on would not be nuclear science. It will be something that concerns you, like taxation, education, war, defense, anything like that.
Right, but
These are
every
things that you
single
can
one has the same knowledge.
The expert actually gives you the alternatives. You don't actually study the problem. You
So I
simply
need to spend time to study it. Simple citizen.
you don't. The expert does.
But how can I make a informed decision if I don't understand the issue properly?
I'm glad you asked though, because I think I did explain. You see, one of the things that an expert has to do is to give you all the pros and cons of a particular alternative.
But I don't, as a citizen, I don't have enough time to go through every single. If I want to be an informed citizen, and if I want to participate in the system that you're proposing,
Yeah.
I need to be aware of what's going on. And you saying that you appoint some experts are appointed with their knowledge about different fields, and then they come and explain to me whether it's good to build this table like this or in a different shape, and they're going to say this is the pro and this is the con, and I don't really have time to go through every single thing. So I don't know how these citizens can be very kind of make informed decisions.
It all depends on how apathetic you are to what's going on around you. If you are completely apathetic and you don't care, then nobody can force.
No, but not everyone has time to go through every single kind of foreign policy issue to deal with this country, that country, like whether how to spend the defense.
I think you're making the problem far too big for yourself. You're not going to go through every issue. The expert is going to give you a final conclusion or a set of conclusions.
So they make some sort of decision.
They are not making decisions, they are giving you alternatives. When you go to a doctor, he doesn't make the decision, you are the one who makes the decision. He gives you diagnosis, he gives you alternative treatment. And it's the same thing with an engineer or something else, anybody else. You know, he comes to the house, he tells you, I think we should do that, or we can do that or that, and then it's up to you to decide. Yes.
Would we give an end to the civil service at the moment, the civil servants? Because I understand that over time it's changed from a more kind of, if your father was rich or your father was well known, you'd be in the civil service, to now it's more professionalised. So what would we do with all those people? Like, I don't know how to explain it, but
you don't do anything.
Would we just?
Their power, their political power, will be cut off, and they will stay in their posts, doing their job as best they have to.
Okay.
Or face the boot. Nobody's going to do anything to them. You don't have to do anything to them. But I said, the actual system or the engine stays as it is. You don't change it. It's the political power that you take away from them. You give it to the people.
Can I just make a comment? That's not a question. I think you sort of presented such a radical system that a lot of people actually in this room are shocked. You know, they're finding it difficult to grasp this. No, seriously, they're shocked. I mean, for example, as I was coming here, I listened to the LBC. It's, you know, there's a lot of discussions, and as you know, elections are coming up for the mayor. Now there was a candidate which I had never heard of. Yeah. I think he used to be a former police officer, and we've got Boris and we've got Ken Livingstone. Now, all of you in this room and all the people in London, the Londoners, do they know how to run a city? No. But at least we are given alternatives, we are given options. In this case, 3 options. You can either go and vote or you don't have to vote. If you vote, you either vote Boris, Ken, and this other gentleman, I don't remember his name. And I think, my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, just to clarify some things, because it seems that we're stuck on this expert concept. My understanding is obviously these experts, for example, I don't know, an expert in health, obviously it's not going to be some simple person who has no idea about the health system. This is someone who's studied the health system, who's worked in the health system.
He's going to be the top guy.
Yes, top guy. Yeah, and so you are going to be given alternatives, as we are in the mayor case.
Sure.
And you as a citizen, you have the option. You either vote or you don't vote. But at least, you don't have to I'm totally against Boris. I don't have to wait 4 or 5 years to make another choice.
And
I
the
can make a
choice-
quicker choice.
and the
So this is my
actually
understanding.
for-
This
the
is
choice is to give somebody else the power. That's the problem.
Yes.
It's not that you're not making choices on things that affect you. You are actually saying X is better to represent me than myself. And 99,999 other people as well. And the lobbies, and the companies that give me a second job, and those who in the party, and my party leader, and my wife and children as well.
Can I finish off with one quick question? Is there any place where, maybe not implemented, but close to this system that you see around the world, whether this is in politics or in a group?
Actually, have you heard of the Occupy movement?
Yes.
You have. Now, yeah, the Occupy Wall Street took my idea, and they've set up an actual internet page, which they do exactly what you're saying.
What is this called?
It's called Direct.
Oh, you mean the Occupy movement? Okay.
Yeah, the page is called Direct Democracy, I think. Real-time direct democracy. They've taken my suggestions and they are doing that. And we have a web page as well that is actually talking about this. We have lots of people now who are getting interested. There are thousands and thousands of people who are now aware of this system.
And because of our psychiatrist in West London,
Yes.
basically what happens, these people are very well organized. These politicians, whether it's Labour Party or Conservative or KDP, or very well organized.
Yeah.
So nobody can deal like the Islamic, extreme Islamist people in Egypt and everywhere. When there is voting, they will win. It doesn't mean they are the best or the majority or the. What happens? They are very well organized, and they have the means. While the majority of people, they don't care.
Well, the thing is that you're
They don't
talking
get
about
involved.
you're talking about a party that is set up under the representative party system, and that uses the normal methods and so on. What we're talking about is a party that will have only one function, one purpose only, which is to implement this system. And then after that, the party will dissolve itself, and real-time online democracy will take place. Yeah. Now, no power is greater than the people's power. I don't care what party you think of, it's a minority party. As I explained,
Islamic party,
yeah,
yeah.
no power is bigger than the people. If the people all get convinced about the idea and form the party and go into the government, then nobody is going to be able to stand in its face. Nobody. Especially in the West.
So,
Yeah.
Your
So,
mind's too
Please be patient with my English.
People don't work like that. Things are more complicated than it is. It's a computer model.
نمونه هي للسويس هم صالح أوان لما عندنا كان مشهورة معرفية كبيرة. كان خاطر كنا يعني إكسبرت على هذه أول سؤال بو سؤالك كشنو كان لجنگی جهانی دوما خودی آلمانیا کان واقعا هیتلریان درست لبرای برکیان نجوی دکان بو هر استاجو کو سوالی کم آقای فرموداراتر لگل مسلمان کانا ام احزابانا تأثیر ده آنها مستمشکی ام خلقا اگر آوان رأی بینن against human rights فکر کرو که آوان رأی بینن تو اعدام بکر چیه که این جامعه against human rights یا مثلا بلان که حقوق الجن کم ببیتوا أوان رأيان هنا ويا ما تشيب كي أم شتا إنسان يعني حلقة شو سيستمك شو نتواني كمكي
Mamus, دتواني
it starts from yourself.
دتواني دوار باو برادر كتناجن بكرتاسي.
I think she was talking about the Second World War in Germany, when Nazis came to power and then they disenfranchised the Jews, they persecuted the Jews.
they elected Hitler.
Yeah, and then as a result
that was representative democracy, don't forget.
And
that was using the system
I think
of representative democracy. And that's another danger of representative democracy because it creates people like Bush and Blair. Not just Hitler. Don't forget those. Don't forget that 2 million Vietnamese were killed by representative democracy. Don't forget more than 1 million in Iraq were killed by representative democracy. Yeah, well, I mean, there are so many examples. Whereas you could never have this system actually generating aggressive war.
But you can't guarantee that.
Yeah.
I can guarantee it. If you want to do it for me, you set up the system and I'll guarantee it.
But what about the role of...
Give the word to the guy.
Thank you very much. I want to thank you for coming and enlightening us, Dr. Hilmi. I'm a student as well currently at next door Refiq University studying politics and society. And I have a deadline writing an essay on electoral systems on Monday. And as you mentioned, this majoritarian and then proportional representative systems, the swing in between. And John Stuart Mill, the political thinker, English political thinker, suggested open voting. In that way, people would be actually responsible for their votes. Everybody would see who you are voting for, and whoever you have voted for would do something wrong, corruption or cheating, you would be blamed for it. On top of that, when Tony Blair tried to change the number of lords in the House of Commons, he actually suggested a system of sort of similar to your experts. Every lord would actually put their CVs on the walls, so other MPs would go and read their stories to find out who could be an expert lord in there. So he would bring the number from 560 to 100. He suggested that as well. And what I'm thinking, because recently AV, alternative voting system, and other sort of suggestion coming from the government, taxation, any other thing, it's all to do with human participation. We know human's nature. It's so hard to actually move people from home to go and vote for something, or just for referendum, to bring their ideas. And on top of that, it will be extremely difficult.
Can you make it concise and make it into a question or something, please?
Yes. The participation of people, in reality, it's extremely hard. You need magic as your vision. So what would happen? I mean, how would you...
Participation of people?
Yes. In your information system.
That is actually at the heart of representative democracy. People have to participate to elect other people to do everything for them. So we're using, the idea of participation of people is not new.
Yes.
It's not invented here. What we're saying is that when you participate for yourself. You don't participate to put X, Y, or Z in power.
But then you will not be able to get the idea of everyone on online sort of voting system with voting card. They won't go, they won't bother.
They won't bother?
Yes.
I disagree. Sorry.
Can I take Fereydun? I'm not sure whether you respond to the question to Halali. She asked one question.
The other question, why not every year? Why just wait 2 years? Yeah.
The 2-year thing is to actually get fresh blood into the queues. You know, you've got these queues. You don't want them to be static, the same people. You want the queue to change, and you do it every 2 years. You are not actually allowing people to vote only once every 2 years. You're only electing the experts once every 2 years, because it would be a bit pointless in doing it less than that. If you do it less than that, then you probably end up with the same queues. But 2 years gives people to become experts, to actually come out of the professional engine into a stage which will be able to be elected as a top expert.
We have 15 minutes. Can we collect questions, or for 3 or 4 questions? Then you can respond. Yes, please.
Just like to talk about this idea. You said in this idea, what you talk about is in practice, is in action now in London Occupation Exchange as well.
No. Occupy Wall Street. The American.
Yeah, but I saw it myself. I went with the people here in the London.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, and they're talking about them. So when I went to there, they have. It doesn't have these things what you talk about to be on the internet or on the digital.
That's right.
It can be on assemblies as well.
Oh, yeah,
these people, they have assemblies. They have assemblies every day twice.
We're talking about national democracy. We're not talking about the group.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. In practice, how you do it. So it starts with the small groups.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be, because anything when you start to practice or to achieve something.
The only difficulty is with a group, you can't make sure that you've got an expert in every topic. Whereas with the nation, our queue of experts will actually have the greatest number of experts all in the queue. They could be one vote for one person, it will still be in the queue. All we are interested is at the end of the queue. Who is at the top of the queue? If he is at the top of the queue, he becomes member of the cabinet of experts. Now, once he goes because he's died or he's become sick or because he's been voted out, the next one goes in. And the next one, remember, is the top guy as well.
That's what I meant by this movement. This movement doesn't come out like a big bang. It has to start from a point. So that's where the people start the assemblies.
Yeah, all these Occupy movements are actually connected to this, but they are still, apart from Occupy Wall Street, who are actually trying to implement the idea on the web.
Yeah.
The others still are not sure what they have to do. They are still talking about trying to convince the politicians to give them more freedom, to listen to them more, to do more for the people. And that's not what you want. You don't want to use these politicians to to get better or to do their dirty work in a better way. They have to be removed. The only way to remove them is via the system that we already have.